Hi everyone, welcome back to sunny and warm New England for today. Got a few things to finish up on the Stafford car, get that ready, and maybe, weather permitting, we might be going racing. If you're new to the channel or a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, because that helps me a ton and doesn't cost you anything. I just want Google, a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, to pay me for using my likeness and my intellectual property to sell you ads. So I just want my piece of the cut. I think that's fair. At any rate, I'm going to get to work on stuff, but I'm not going to get to work on the car immediately. What I am going to get to work on is my trailer. This thing needs to be ready for a whole lot of use. And I'm also kind of concerned about my truck that's sitting over there too, because, well, it's old and I've been seeing streams of transmission fluid behind it, and I don't know why. Either way, we're going to ignore the transmission fluid and get over here to this, because what I have is, well, a new grease gun that I bought at Harbor Freight. I figure if we start greasing stuff, maybe it'll fail a lot less. I especially have it for the hubs on this because I don't remember the last time I did it. But this is a pneumatic one. No free ads, but like my old one is a little trigger, I guess one. What do you call that? I don't know, handle, pistol grip, whatever the hell it is. And it's very poorly made. It leaks out the top, and it's like a pinhole leak if you get pressure to it. And this thing is broken off, and I have a nut attached to it, and the little locking lever it's been gone since I bought it, and it's a real pain. So I'm just going to throw an air fitting, I guess you can call it, onto this thing. And I bought a canister of grease, shove that in there, and we'll get to greasing and checking brake wires and lines and such. I gotta tell you, that this pneumatic, I should say, grease gun, really worked like a charm. Just exactly what you wanted it to do. Push grease into things. The only problem that I would have with it was you could push it on pretty easily, but you could not get it back off. I guess that might be a good thing in certain instances, but like when I'm trying to work here, I don't want to be wrestling with it to try to get things off. Anyway, it worked pretty good. It was like 65 bucks. Again, I don't give free ads or nothing, but you know, if a tool works, I'll tell you guys about it, and this one worked. So feel free to add it to your collection if you need one of these. So that was at least a bit of a victory, and it looked pretty good. I didn't see any real dry spots with the hubs on the trailer. Nothing really major to be concerned with. A little bit of discolored grease, but I mean, it's really old, so I pushed as much out of it as I possibly could to try to get some fresh stuff in there. I think that did it a world of good. I've never seen a hot bearing on that, so let's try to keep it that way. So I did notice the tire's a little dry rotted. I'll have to call a sponsor, see if I can get a little bit of help with that. We'll keep moving forward on that. I do want to make sure that the trailer brakes work, but I mean, that's a maintenance item we can get done at some other time. I've done them before. It's not a huge deal. Either way, I'm going to cut today a little bit short because, well, my kid wants me to go walk around the neighborhood and play Pokemon Go and stuff with him, which I still haven't downloaded. Maybe today will be the day, though, because, you know, someday you're going to wake up and your kid is off on his own doing his own thing, and, you know, that's probably not far from now, even though I do have a little bit of time, but I don't want to take it for granted, and I don't think anybody really should. So I'm going to go do that, and then try to squeeze in a little bit of work tomorrow before league night. But that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, next day, I got to get some work done before league night, and that work is going to consist of doing the radiator ducting. I hate doing it with the nose installed and the radiator in, and it sucks, you know? So I'm just going to bite the bullet here. I'm just going to do it kind of janky. I'll grab a piece of scrap plastic and just kind of go in here, and I'll show you in a second, but I'll go in here and just drill a hole and throw a rivet that's an exploding rivet into it to hold it in place, and then just foil tape the rest. Like I said before, I'm using the old one that came off the old nose, and there's a big gap at the bottom. You can kind of see it right here. I made a filler panel for it, which is right here. So I'm just gonna throw a drill through that and just put 2 rivets in it. And then you gotta fill up here because, well, it doesn't quite fit. So we're gonna fill up there as well. And then I have to put a top piece in just because, well, you gotta stop the air from going over the radiator. It has to go through it. And I wanted to show you guys this. Now, you've seen one of these on this channel before. Ooh, easy on the wrap. I know, I'm all paranoid now, which I won't be after a few races. This is a high torque mini starter. Fits a small block Chevy. I used one of these on my old car, the red car. You have a choice when it comes to racing, right? You can do it one way, which is a fistful of money and a lighter. And you can just buy all the best things, throw them at your car and say, I have the best equipment. Or you can do what I do. This much money, which is none, and figure it out. This starter, if you buy this exact thing, granted it would be repainted black, the cheapest one you could get exactly like this is $180 from your Parts Warehouse websites, especially the discount ones. Like if you got one from Capital or Speedway, about $169 to $180 for one of these. I bought this for $58 on Temu, and people just cringed by hearing me say Temu. But here's the thing. They're all the same. This is billet. This is adjustable. This is all brand new. I put this in my car, and I flipped the switch, and it worked perfectly. Parts warehouses, the discount ones, buy these wholesale and then upsell them and make $100 a piece on one of these. That's how they make their money. If you go around them to the source, you can get it for cheaper too. Cloudy, rainy disgustingness has given way to sunshine and warm weather, so the door's open. But yes, that's done. Good enough. I duct taped, or no, I guess it could be duct tape, right? What's 324A Nashua? Whatever. It's foil tape, but whatever. So it's put back together in some piecemealed manner, and I zip tied it so it can't move either. What I'm doing now is I'm actually playing with tires because I do want to be ahead of the game. Instead of searching piles for stuff to set it up with, I'm just using whatever I have here. And I'm trying to get the stagger numbers right. Sizes aren't going to be what I'm looking for, but I can get the staggers right. So I've got a bunch of tires that had no air in them for the whole winter. So I blew them up to 40 pounds, and I'm going to let them sit there for an hour or so, let them stretch out all the way to simulate use, and then I'm gonna put them back to tire regular pressures, see what they say, see where they go on the car. I think I'll do that in a minute though, because I do have a couple other things that I need to do, and chief among which is the wear skirt on the front nose, because it looks kind of, goofy being a little bit higher than the body, and the wear strip definitely helps with the looks and, well, maybe aero, but it's a brick, therefore aero doesn't matter as much. Still matters, but this might not do as much as you think. So we're going to put it on anyway. I got it laid out in the sun, trying to make it pliable. My only issue is I put an entire piece of plastic under the front nose of the car because I just reused it. So I can't get clamps up into this thing. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to hold it, do one, move down, do another one, move down, do the corner, and then wrap it around. And the way I'm going to do it is not the way that people usually do it. They buy fancy bolts with big shoulders on them so they can slide it and move it to where they want. Rivets. That's all I have. And it'll work just fine. Being someone who in the past has had a nose that was a little too tall, I like having these because it really ties it in. It makes the line go all the way the same with the rocker panel, which is really cool. It ties the whole body in perfectly. It also adds a little bit of strength. It also takes a little bit of air out from under it, but again, street stock. So who knows exactly if there's any sort of benefit to that whatsoever. It just looks better. It ties the body in better. And, well, it helps keep the nose and the fenders together as well. It's another tie-in point. I'm going to continue on working with like tires and stuff to see if I can put something together for a setup, at least just for stagger's sake, because, well, buying tires, especially Hoosier tires, because they're garbage, is a crapshoot. And you got to at least have the stagger numbers similar. You're not going to get the same size tires. If you can get it close enough, that usually helps. So I'm going to go back through and start working on these and start bolting tires back onto the car because, well, it's really coming together and we got to start thinking about doing setup. Well, considering my life is now a meme because I've lost my 10mm wrench, I'm going to go try to find it in my brother's car because that's where I had it when I lost it. And it's way too dark in here to film, and I have way too many hood pins to pull off in order to look. All right, and short answer is no. Okay. I guess this thing doesn't have my 10mm. No. You know, I always thought those memes were corny and stupid. And then all of a sudden it happened to me. So, great. Wonderful. I wonder what happened to it. Also, I wonder what happened to the weather because, boy, that turned bad real quick. I'd hate to have to order stuff off of Amazon. Guess I'm going to have to order tools now. So I don't know about you guys, but I have spare tool bins. And I can't really get to this one. See, I've got one up here. Oh, that is very tippy. I don't know about that. I've got some stuff in there. I don't really know quite what, so I'm not going to go look in there yet. But what else I have is a tool box of just spare stuff that's still good, but I didn't, use them. I got these hex bits. I got this thing here. I got to tape that. I don't know what it is. I've got this entire crescent socket set that's universal. Oh, I've got my handmade oil filter cutter that I made from something from Dollar General and some washers. Oh, that's actually pretty good. I could use that. But I went in here and I found an old Ampro 10mm wrench. It's not the greatest, but you know what? It's not cracked and it works. That's going to go back in the toolbox, and if the other one shows up, good. And as a self-proclaimed automotive hoarder, I hoard everything. If anything has any sort of use, even if I can't use it now and maybe I can use it later, I keep it. And if you sell it or get rid of it or give it away, then eventually someday you're probably going to need it. Today, my savings paid off. So as the weather is really not looking great out there. I mean, my wife just sent me a picture of some pretty ugly storm clouds probably coming this way. Or you know what? I'll be fair. They're probably already here. I think I'm going to wrap it up for the day. Besides, I got everything done that I kind of needed to get done. What we need to do now is, well, get some fuel to fill it up because we're going to need that weight for when we put it on scales. And I haven't really changed a heck of a lot with the suspension. I mean, I've repaired some stuff and I've checked some things, but everything is essentially the same. I went and found a bad shock, which I think I've showed you guys in the past, replaced it with a much better one. I have new ones in the back. They're the same. I've got all the springs the same. Everything is the same. Sway bar is the same. Everything's the same. So basically, it's just a matter of doing setup at this point. But I think I'll get fuel, maybe, if we go to New Hampshire, which, by the looks of things outside and the sounds of things, I won't make it because I'll be killed in a tornado or whatever the heck is coming my way. I wish I could go up to Thompson tomorrow because they're racing, but then I'd have to pay an admission fee in order to go buy gas, which I don't want to do. They have gas pumps, and when they're open on normal business hours, I can usually just pop in whenever somebody's in the office and go grab some at the pump. Just swipe your card and be on your way. However, I need to get it between now and next Wednesday, Thursday, something like that, because this car needs to be on scales as soon as possible so that we can figure out if anything goes wrong, we can fix it. Because, well, I'll be buying fuel at the track when we're going every week, but in order to get there, I need to have some, and I don't want to guesstimate on weight. I'd rather have it in the tank, still be fresh, and have it ready. I think that'll do it for today. I've got league night if the power stays on. I'm going to go eat something, and I hopefully won't have died in a massive storm, but I'll see you tomorrow. All right, next day I'm back out here. We got to start getting this Stafford car here done and enough to be out of the way because my brother's car has to come back in here real quick so that we can make sure we check tow and just finalize it before we load the trailer back up and put the tools in it and such, because I have to leave tomorrow night in order to go to New Hampshire Motor Speedway and probably get rained out on Saturday. To run the Northeast Classic. I did get some parts, though, that I have been missing for this car. My 3 alternators went bad, so I went on eBay and bought one. This thing had a sheet in it where they tested it and said, hey, the voltage is perfect. So I'm like, okay, I guess we'll just go with it. These little mini Denzos, apparently they didn't make this kind for a car use. It was meant for forklifts. That's it. It's a forklift alternator. I think somebody was probably blue collar guy was like, hey, my Toyota forklift or whatever the hell has this tiny little alternator. I bet it fit on my race car pretty good, and just kind of slapped it on there because it was tiny, lightweight, and made plenty of energy. It's like 50 amps or something, so I got to go pull the hood off and move everything out of the way and start slapping this poor thing on there so that this thing creates voltage again. Well, it's upside down, but you can see, here, let me do this. When I rev it up, exactly the same as the last one. Wonderful. So I don't have a damn clue. I don't know why these alternators, even if I try to hit some kind of exciter wire or whatever the case is for these things, you know how you usually jump a wire to a terminal or not? I tried doing that, no change whatsoever. When you sit at idle, it just doesn't charge. When you rev it up, it's like 15 volts. I don't know why that is. I don't know why it can't just be like a regular alternator where it has to be, oh, I need, 13.2 volts all the time. So I'm thinking maybe, hear me out on this, that my old alternator is exactly the same as this one. It would do nothing at idle, and it would charge too much. So I'm betting it's fine, but what I'm really thinking is, I bet you these need some kind of an external regulator. So I'm going to look into that, see if I can just chuck one of those right on the roll bar or something and see what happens. I might be able to get one in time. Otherwise, we're just going to be overcharging a 12-volt battery at 15 volts down the straightaway, so that's going to be pretty great. So on to the next thing, I suppose. The pain continues because I went outside and fired up the old car, which has been sitting underneath about 3-4 tarps instead of being in a garage. But hey, covers up all the major stuff, so it's not a real big deal. Fired right up though. I was surprised, especially because there's no battery, because apparently it has the same exact issue as this car does. When you, I guess, buy these cheaper alternators, I guess maybe they don't come with the same voltage regulation, and maybe they actually are made for forklifts that only run about, 2,000 RPMs. And when you rev them up past that, I guess maybe they don't like it, or they're not supposed to, and the voltage is kind of incorrect. So I'm gonna have to do a little more research, I guess. So I must live on a different planet or something, because I could swear that before, when I had my old alternator in the car, once it excited, it would be, 12.8, 13.2 at idle, just kind of whatever it is. But it had to excite first. Now I'm like doing a bunch of research and thinking to myself, is that actually true or not? My brother's car runs a big GM Delco, the massive ones that's the size of your head. He runs one of those, and it does that. I run the little stuff, like the little GM mini Denso, or the GM Denso, or the mini Denso, which is like this one. And I'm thinking, I seem to recall it doing the same exact thing with my old alternator, but now it doesn't. So I wonder if it's the car's wiring. I wonder if I screwed something up. I wonder if it's just not capable of doing what I think it does. Who knows? All I know is that if I'm driving it around the pits, it's like 13 plus volts, right? So it's charging. If I'm sitting stationary, it's not charging. If I'm out on the racetrack racing, it's like 14.9 volts. So do I just live with it? Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I could be crazy. I'll just have to do more independent research later. So either way, I think what we're going to do next is at least start getting an idea of what we need to do for setup. I'll probably put the car on the ground. We'll probably measure some ride heights. Just try to start eyeballing and make sure we're at least close to the ballpark when we start setting the car up. I mean, clearly it's got to go on scales. It's got to do all that stuff. But also, I got to make sure that like the ball joints are tight, because they're not tight yet up top. Because if I need to change the ride height, I have to drop the ball joint, or drop the spindle from the top ball joint, and play with the screw adjusters in the front pockets. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, and I apologize for that, but this is all stuff that you might run into someday too. So, all right, we're going to have to move on. It'll charge while it's driving, so I guess that's all that really matters. So it ain't a street car, and I got to remember that, and maybe this is exactly what it's supposed to do. Who knows? But we're going to get back into just trying to get this thing ready. So real quick, I went under the car. I wanted to double check and make sure that I had put enough oil in the transmission and the rear end. I was pretty certain I did, but with building that car and that car in the meantime, you tend to forget things. So I had to hop under here, make sure, but they're both perfect. Then I'm going to check tire pressures just to make sure that they're whatever they are supposed to be. That way I can at least get an accurate measurement on ride height. Throw it on the ground real quick. Make sure that we are at least in the ballpark. pretty good. Looks way better now with this little skirt here at the bottom that I just dirtied up. By the way, I know you probably can't see through the mesh, but I just noticed something. Yeah, there's a Sharpie in there. I know that's not easy to see right now, but it's there. And it's already ducted in, so now I got to figure out a way to get that out. Well, it is a Sharpie, so it's not really going to hurt anything, but I don't want things floating around in there, so now I got to go root that thing out somehow. So we are really close on the numbers. I just remembered I didn't check tire pressures. Shoot. So anyway, either way, it's going to be very, very close. I mean, left front, left rear, right rear. Everything seems really, really close to what we were looking for. If I had to wager a guess, I don't really have a clue where the cross weight would be. It might be a little lower than what I'm used to, but I mean, that's okay because like I said, whatever adjustments we have to make from this point out is probably going to be very minor. So we just have to get it on scales, check caster camber toe, finalize all that stuff, which we're going to have to do later. The mechanical part of it works. I know that it runs, drives, moves, stops, all on its own. I know that there's oil where it needs to be. I know that there's grease where it needs to be. Like I said, everything in this car is new. Drive shaft, clutch, rear end, shock, springs, engine, radiator, carburetor. Everything is new and everything has oil that needs it. So I know that it mechanically works, therefore, and all the safety equipment's up to date. Therefore, we only have to put it on scales and set it up. And I really want to make sure that that's done well ahead of time. But I also have to remember that I still have a whole week and a half until we go racing again. And I put in for the time off at work well in advance, like at least a month in advance, just to make sure I had it. So hopefully Stafford doesn't get any rain next week. This week, though, we got to get my brother's car back in here, or at least back to a spot where we can measure toe. But in here is the most flat ground that we have. So once my brother shows up, we'll probably end up moving that in here. I don't know where this thing's going to go, but it's not going to stay outside. That's for dang sure. We're probably going to set the toe for my brother's car and then load the trailer, put tools and tires and everything in that, whatever we need. And then my car will just immediately come back in here, or I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure it out on the fly, but when he gets here, and we'll figure that out then. Good morning. It is really early on Thursday, and I haven't really slept. Does it look like it? Because I didn't film it last night, but we ran into an issue with my truck and trailer that's really devastating at this moment. So I had an issue where the trailer wiring underneath got ripped off. As you can see, right about there. It got pulled up. Well, luckily for me, I have a secondary because this thing used to haul goosenecks. And it's right there. But we have a little extension so that we could still use it. The problem is, well, this plug here that comes off the trailer, we had brake lights and signals, but nothing else. We had no running lights, we had no brakes, we had nothing. So I'm tracing wires, I'm tracing grounds, I'm tracing everything. I can get a test light on here, and we got the little warning lights here, which you can see, they work. Every light here will light up when you touch anything in the truck. Lights, signals, brakes, constant power, which is this one. You name it. And I pinned it out over here too with a test light and with everything else. So I figured out it was getting whatever through to this, but not into the trailer. So I changed the plug, thinking that the old plug, because it wasn't weatherproof, had gotten water or whatever into it over the years, because it's 14 years old, corroded, had an issue. Okay. So I redid everything, checked the trailer, absolutely nothing, except for brakes. We have power brakes, but that's it. So I don't know what to do. I was up all night last night looking for stuff. I was out here in the freezing cold wind trying to figure this out, and I haven't yet. And I have to leave tonight And right now, at this moment, this trailer has no brakes, no lights, nothing. I will say though, by looking underneath the truck, maybe it's a problem with the truck because the wiring is incredibly janky under there. So I'm gonna start there and just start pulling electrical tape off and start pulling the connector out of the truck and see if there's any sort of connector issue, like corrosion or something in that plug, because that's as old as the truck is. And just start there. Maybe I'll check voltage at the plug. Maybe it's too low. I did notice something last night. I did notice low voltage on one of the plugs. It said like 9. So I'm like, maybe that's part of the problem. So we're gonna start there. I'm gonna grab all my tools and just get after it. And I'll check back in with you because this is gonna take a long time and it's gonna kill my batteries on my camera if I just leave it up to filming, and I got a lot to do. And yes, before you ask, I have checked all the fuses and inside the truck. Nothing is blown. So I am getting some weird stuff here. I haven't had any running lights. You pull this. I took the buzzer fuse out so it wouldn't annoy the hell out of me. I got a battery charger just cooking over there. And you can see there's no running lights, right? Up on the top. Well, if I take my magic stick here, like that, I use my seat to hit the brake pedal. Yeah, brake controller's on. Now the lights are on. Tail lights are on too, and the brakes work. So now I gotta figure out what the hell's going on. Oh guys, I am so relieved. It's only 8:30 in the morning, I think. I've been up since sunrise, but like, it's fixed. I've already put the tools away. Here's what happened. Now there's a standardized type of, let me see if I got a thing here. Whatever this diagram says, you know, it's, oh, that's just wire identification. I thought that was the actual thing, but I guess there's standardized colors for these plugs, right? And I went off of that. Well, apparently that wasn't what this had. What this had was, there's this brand, Bargman, I think is the brand, and it's weird because they made this outlet in my truck, and this trailer is much newer. This is like a 2011. That's a 1997. They made the plug for my trailer too. So I'm like, well, that's a coincidence. So what I did was I went through, and they luckily helped me out by putting a diagram on the plug itself. So I went through and I checked the wires in the coinciding colors, right? The standard ones were the same. Brake is blue, black is 12 volt, which is weird, but that's just what it is. White is ground, you know, stuff like that. Apparently, standardized plugs like this, brown is your running lights, like red is your right and something, I don't even know, but it's completely wrong. So I went through and wired this, not to these specs, but to these specs. And I'll be damned if it worked. Look at that. Off. Off. I checked the brakes, I checked everything. Everything's working again. So the trip is back on. I'm so exhausted. I couldn't sleep thinking about this all night last night. Luckily, I didn't have to go anywhere, buy anything, struggle, rewire the trailer. I don't know what I was gonna do, but luckily, I didn't have to do any of that. It was just some good old-fashioned intuition and exhausted thinking, which is exactly what I just did because I left the door open on my truck. Well, the Stafford car is in the yard because my brother's car is back in here. See? Figured I'd give it some sun time to get the wrap to sit down a little bit, get the hood to lay a little flatter, because I definitely want this kind of out of it. See, I wanted to do that, but I kind of can't. But it looks pretty awesome though, especially with the new nose strip on it. Got a little work to do, but not as much as I got this weekend, that's for sure. not too late, and I did get the tow set, which is, I think I got it like 1/16th out. It's a really big track. I don't want to throw a whole bunch in there. So, seems pretty good. I don't know. Step on the gas, it goes. Step on the brake, it slows down. Tow is set. Everything is already set. We scaled it. I also have to load the trailer. That's ready to go. Thinking about just getting most of the stuff in there, like wheels, some equipment, a scooter, because it's really big up there. My brother's foot's going to hurt. And I'm charging up my winch battery. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get this stuff figured out. But for now, I'm just going to... I was really thinking about just setting tire pressures and putting it on scales just to see what the difference is, and just chuck some weight in it and then make it removable for when Jesse gets in the car. But I'll figure that out in a minute. Otherwise, we're just still plugging away. You know, we're just trying to get through it, and on no sleep, that's not easy. My brother's car is in the box, ready to go for New Hampshire. Ugh, the gnats are out in full force, and they've discovered how to come indoors. So I'm going to close this up, get the other car back in here. It's had a nice day out in the sun, and get ready to, well, get up to New Hampshire. I'm going to be going up there tonight just to preempt any sort of travel for tomorrow morning. I got to be there at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So it's like, well, not driving that early. I'm not getting up at 5. So I'll have a nice 2-hour ride, probably at rush hour, up to New Hampshire from here. Maybe 2+, but done it before, and at least I put a muffler on my truck, so it won't be so bad. All right, I'll button this thing up, swap things around, and probably be on my way pretty soon. Okay, Stafford car's back in. A little crooked, but, you know, I didn't want to hit anything. I was kind of like trying to keep it nice for opening day at least. I'm just taking my usual walk around, making sure I have everything and trying to think about what I need. You know, I got power tools, I got regular tools, I got a generator with an extra gallon of gas. I got my air compressor, I got my air hose, I got pretty much my entire box of tools. Just taking a final look. I even got rags, for God's sakes. So I'm just kind of making one final sweep. Just trying to see what else I need. I even brought extra stuff, so. I usually do this and then end up forgetting something anyway, so, or needing something I didn't bring. You know, like you wouldn't normally bring, but then you need it that time. So either way, we're loaded up for New Hampshire. All right, guys, I just got gas at the local station. Diesel, whatever. Oh, I gotta adjust my mirror real quick. And we're on our way. It's about 6:15, 2-hour ride. We'll probably be there after dark, clearly, because it's not quite summer yet. That's fine, because all the lights are working, so that's good. It's gonna be a long ride, but at least it won't be as loud as usual. So I didn't film anything coming up to the hotel here up in New Hampshire because, I'll be honest with you, it was a little windy and it was all 3-lane highways, and I kind of stupidly chose the middle lane because, well, I didn't want to get stuck with oncoming traffic and, you know, off ramps and on ramps and stuff like that, and a little hairy. But I cannonballed 2.5 hours straight up to New Hampshire, and we're here. We'll sprinkle in a little bit of action whenever we get that tomorrow, so, oh, and Saturday. But I'm gonna just kind of chill out and relax and just enjoy the nice comfortable bed that I have waiting for me here, and probably watch some YouTube or whatever they got on the streaming here. And I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Friday morning, we're up in New Hampshire, up at the hotel. Parking lot is tight. Luckily, a lot of the cars that were here last night left, so I could probably get this thing out of here, which is nice. Hopefully I don't run over any like pedestrians or anything. Hopefully they're self-aware enough. Letting the truck warm up because I woke up this morning to 27 degrees We're gonna go head over to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Well, the biggest track in New England. Here we go. Unfortunately, we were rushing to get the thing ready and get out for first practice, so the GoPro I put in the car had no SD card. So that didn't work, and it doesn't matter anyway because it's broken. I broke my brother's car. Transmission, I think, went, so they've got some work ahead of them tomorrow. I'm just trying to find some parts and tools and get out there and get back to work because now we got to fix it. Left, and the rest of it's down here, and it smells really awful. The Lincoln locker's holding in there pretty good, but yep, that sucks. Made a decision. Instead of sitting up in New Hampshire and waiting for everybody else to show up and swap cars, I'm in my truck trying to escape from New Hampshire. And we collectively are driving back home 2.5 hours to see if we can find parts to send up with the guys tomorrow. Putting a hell of a lot of...
Police reported ahead.
Uh-oh, that's a bad thing. Better put the phone down. Alright guys, I gotta be honest with you, I really failed on this video, and I apologize. It got out of control really fast. Things happened, parts broke, and we've done nothing but thrash the entire day. It's been really bad. So here's the story. Last night, when we broke, we kind of shrugged our shoulders and tried to come up with a plan because we didn't have a way of fixing it. And I tried to relay with the guys who are going to be there today what we should do. And I thought we had a plan in action. I actually ended up driving home. Clearly, I'm not in my truck. But I just took off for home saying, you know what, I wasn't gonna, but I'm doing it now. And when I did that, I actually got home right as my brother, who was going to be driving, got to my house. And I helped him. We actually found the ring and pinion that we needed, right? And I thought, okay, well, we got a plan now. Turns out, apparently, I didn't know this, but the GM 7.5-inch rear that comes in an S10, which is where I got the gears out of, has a different pinion bearing than the one in the cars, which makes sense, but I should have known that. I'm just hoping that the gear itself is the same one. They have been up there in New Hampshire while I had to go to work today and trying to fix it up there. So they figured out that problem, and then it became a complete scramble to try to get it fixed. So they're buying tools, they're buying parts, they're buying bearings and seals and other tools and stuff that I've got in my car. However, I had to work today, and I rushed through work, which I'm not proud of, but I did. And my ETA up there is 2 o'clock. However, heat races started at 11, which was about an hour ago. So I might make it there before they go out for the feature with tools and parts that they might need. So we're really trying. I just wish that I hadn't bought the tires before I went out for practice. I didn't know what the procedure was going to be. So everything that happened, I feel like that's all my fault. I think I left too little oil in the rear and it cooked it and broke it, which if I had put oil in it, I bet we wouldn't have had a problem. And then the parts weren't there and I didn't know the difference for the parts and I had to work, and I think I wasted everybody's money and time, and that sucks. And it's kind of a hard pill to swallow right now. So I am gonna make my third cannonball to and from New Hampshire in 3 days. I'm going to drive up there nonstop, and I'm gonna see if we can get the thing at least slapped together enough to get on the racetrack, or do we go sit in the grandstands and watch the rest of the show? I don't know. Hopefully I make it there in enough time. Do I look terrible? No.
I look at you, though.
We got him out there somehow. We thrashed for 10-20 minutes and got a rear gear put in it. It's not right.
My hands dirty.
It's not correct at all. I got a backfire from the carburetor directly in my face and probably burned all my eyelashes and eyebrows. But he's out there. I don't even know if it'll last, but we got him out there. Fair, that's kind of a win in itself, just getting the thing on track, because we were just, there was no way.
Yes.
I'll have to fill everybody in on the whole story later, but for right now, we're going racing, kind of.
Hopefully.
We'll see how long it lasts. Thank you, Johnny. Back in the hotel room, guys, I really got to apologize because I really got to add more action and more like racing into the video, but this week, I don't know, I just was not able to do it. When I tried to get a GoPro going for the car, didn't work. Apparently it didn't charge because it didn't like the plug that I'd plugged it into. So I charged it on the way up here in my car charger and it worked then. So that's fantastic. So I have no video of me out there practicing. I wasn't able to get a GoPro in my brother's car because the second I showed up at the racetrack, I was literally underneath the car trying to get it ready so that we could go out on the racetrack and at least just take the green. It's better than nothing. It was so much better than just packing it up and not even doing anything. So I'll take that, but I wanted to put GoPros in his car, but we were thrashing. And I didn't have the wherewithal to hand my phone to somebody else because I was busy working on the car and barking orders and coordinating and trying to help. And it all worked out because we got him out there. But then, it kept compounding the second he tried to get towards the track, and it just was a horrible, comedy of errors, I guess you could say. But at least we got out there. So I'm back in the hotel, like I said, and gonna start editing this one. But man, I just want to apologize for the fact that all I did was kind of talk and do nothing really action based. I tried to get some video of them coming around the track, but we only made like 4 or 5 laps, so there wasn't a lot of time to really film. And plus, one of those laps he was on pit road and I was fixing it, so that stinks. But I hopefully will not make that mistake much longer. Hopefully I'll have something going on where I can make sure I get more racing footage and more action to you guys, because, well, it's boring to sit there and listen to me talk and tell stories when you can watch action. And that's kind of where we fell short this week, so I apologize for the nth time for that. But thank you guys again for hanging in there with me, and I'm really trying my best to make this better, genuinely. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so if you like this type of thing, and I promise I'm going to try to do better with the racing content thing. Next time I'll leave GoPros with them, and if I can't make it, and we'll do a lot more. I have the equipment, I just haven't been able to coordinate that side of it, which is kind of the big one. So thanks you guys for watching, I greatly appreciate it, and until next time, when I'll likely be racing at Stafford.